A study came out earlier this month examining 21 studies across 1,500 participants to determine whether changing your gut affected symptoms of anxiety. I'm going to share with you what that study found along with tips for what to eat to help relieve anxiety symptoms on this episode of the Dr. K Show. I'm Dr. Karthik Ramanan. I help ambitious individuals end self-criticism with tools and strategies to create optimal everyday mental health. If you're new here and you know you need to get out of your own way to execute on your passions, I am here for you. I encourage you to subscribe right now. Each week on the Dr. K Show, I answer your burning questions. The second segment is Progress Success, where I share a win from K-Nation, people just like you. And in the final segment, I bring the heat. If you need a little kickstart, a little motivation, we'll stick around until the end. I drop some wisdom, raw and real. Before we jump into the study, I want to give you a little background so that we're on the same page. Did you know that there are 100 million neurons in your gut? So much so, in fact, that it has its own classification within the nervous system, the enteric nervous system. Did you also know that 95% of your body's serotonin lives in your gut? Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that's associated with feelings of happiness, and it modulates cognition, memory, learning, just to name a few functions. Now, we're really just at the early stages of being able to fully understand how the gut-brain connection works, but common sense says that given what we already know, it would make a lot of sense to establish optimal everyday mental health with, you guessed it, caring for your gut health. There are trillions of bacteria and other organisms that live peacefully in our guts. We call it the microbiome. Some believe that an unhealthy microbiome is the cause of many of our modern day chronic diseases, and though it's difficult to necessarily determine causation, it is safe to say that we need a healthy microbiome for optimal everyday mental health. So what does that look like? In a study published just this month, researchers reviewed 21 microbiome studies accounting for 1,500 participants to determine whether there was a link between microbiome changes and anxiety. The study found that there was a connection and that non-probiotic interventions were more effective in reducing anxiety symptoms than probiotic interventions. What does that mean? It's not enough to pop a probiotic to fix your microbiome. It's important to eat the foods that create the optimal microbiome. Are you getting value out of this episode? If so, hit that like button right now. And what are those foods? Well, it's primarily fiber-rich plants. Look, we get all caught up in high protein, low fat, low carb, and yet 97% of Americans fail to meet the recommended 30 grams of fiber per day. And that recommendation isn't necessarily even the optimal level. Fiber is critical because it feeds the bacteria that we want to live in our gut. Those favorable microbes extract the short-chain fatty acids, vitamins, and other micronutrients from the fiber, which can decrease inflammation, improve immune function, and, you guessed it, improve cognitive function. Focus on your fiber-rich foods like broccoli, sweet potatoes, pears, carrots, lentils, beans, almonds, even unsweetened dark chocolate. Oh, by the way, that fiber supplement, it's not going to cut it compared to real whole plant foods. Bonus tip, fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, and kombucha are fantastic as well. These are sometimes referred to as prebiotic foods because they grow the bacterial strains that we want in our gut. So there you have it. Your gut is intimately connected with your nervous system and its functions. Your gut is populated by various strains of bacteria that make up your microbiome. A healthy microbiome created with whole plant foods and not just probiotic supplements helps relieve anxiety symptoms. Question of the day, do you get enough whole plants in your diet? Let me know in the comments below. And if you don't, let me know what's your biggest challenge and I'll see if I can give you some pointers. Today's Progress Success is brought to you by my client who you met in last week's Progress Success. At our last appointment, she dropped some major news on me that she hadn't smoked in several days. Mind you, she's been a smoker since her teenage years, and all attempts to quit to this point had been unsuccessful. So what happened? We were focusing on creating healthful habits to help her reshape the way that she saw herself and establish behaviors that would keep her mentally and physically healthy for years to come. We hadn't even gotten to the smoking part yet. But that's the power of creating momentum in your life. It just happened naturally. Make a few changes and they all just start flowing. I am so proud of her. It has been estimated that 1 out of 3 people experience anxiety symptoms at some point in their lifetime. If you deal with anxiety, you are absolutely not alone. It is okay to feel anxious. You, I promise, are not broken. The question is, how badly do you want to change? How much is this anxiety keeping you from taking action? How badly is this anxiety keeping you from having the quality relationships that you want? How much is this anxiety stopping you from being the person that you know you can be? That ends today. Look, my friend, the bottom line is this: if we want to feel differently, we have to act differently. We can't sit in our pain and expect it to go away. What if your anxiety was a gift that led you down the path of healthy habits and a healthy life? Make that your truth. Take the first step and shift your physiology by eating one thing today that is 100% whole plants. Maybe it's a whole salad. Maybe it's just a single carrot. It doesn't have to be much to get your momentum going. And yes, I know, maybe it's not tasty eating those foods. Here's the question to ask yourself: how good does our mental suffering taste? It tastes nasty. Trust me, within 2 weeks of eating more whole plants, this process will sell itself to you because you will start to feel so much more alert, calm, and most importantly, alive. Shift the way you eat, shift the way you feel. I know you can do it today. You don't have to be a victim to your anxiety any longer. It doesn't have to control you. It doesn't have to determine what you deserve in life. You can and you will address it head on and become the vibrant person that deep down you know you are. I believe in your greatness. Whole plant foods. What? This is like take 7 here. So what does that mean? It's not enough to pop a micro... It's not a... Let's go! Ha! I made a verbal typo. It's like take 7. Yeah! I love when it works out.